Hello and welcome to this video review of the CM Racing Dash from MOZA. Now this is a dashboard attachment for your sim racing rig, which should let you see things like your current speed, your rev counter, and perhaps even more. I don't actually know yet because I haven't tried one of these in the past, so I'm excited to do so. This particular product has been sent to me to review by MOZA, but it will be going back to them once the review is done. I've also got two more things to review from MOZA, namely pedals and another wheel rim to test, so do look out for those on my channel soon. But as for now, let's unbox it and we'll see what it's like. So inside I'm met with the user manual, which is a little leaflet. On one side it's got Chinese and on the other side it's got English. So let's have a look. It says it's a 15-inch 16.7 million colours HD monitor with 800 by 480 resolution, which is not bad. That's standard definition actually, so it's not bad resolution for a screen of that size. A thin and floating design, liftable design, so presumably that can be elevated slightly, a 60 Hz refresh rate, and it's compatible with most mainstream sim racing games, so I'll be testing it with a few. It's got 7 styles of interface, which is cool, and key competition data. So I'm keen to see what that means. Seems quite easy to install, and in the MOZA Pit House Dash Monitor setting page, you can switch the user interfaces by swiping left and right, and set up parameters such as speed, temperature, and brightness of the dash monitor. So taking a look at the actual thing itself, it says MOZA at the top here on the screen. It's got an Ethernet cable, which will connect to the base unit, and the screen itself has got a bevel around the edge, so it's not all the way to the edges, but I wouldn't expect it to be, that's no problem. It's got 2 screw mounts on the back, so you can mount it on something, and apart from that, that's about it. It doesn't have anything else. So I don't know how it will actually attach to the unit, but I think we're going to find out now with the rest of the box. Also in the box is a small metal attachment with 5 different brackets there. That's presumably for the elevation that we're talking about. There's also a bag here with 2 tiny screws, another piece of, there's 2 sticky pieces of sort of foam material. So presumably that's just to buffer the bottom of the unit against the top of your sim racing rig. I say another because we had similar things like that with the last MOZA unit. We've also got an Allen key and 2 tiny screws. There are 2 larger screws, that's the ones that were mentioned in the manual, and that will be to adjust it, I should imagine. So that's it, let's set it up and see what it's like in play. The display is easy to attach to its bracket simply by holding it in place with one hand while you do up the first screw with the other, and then the second is easy to insert and tighten. However, the MOZA wheelbase itself doesn't have any screw holes in the top of it with which to attach the dash, which is most odd. The instructions say you can use screws or the included adhesive strips, so I went with the strips. That was easy to set up, and then I was able to power on the unit and attach it to the MOZA Pit House app on my PC, which was very simple. After a quick update, it connected first time, and I was able to cycle through the styles of readout, which all look very nice, though there is a grammar error there on tyres, which shouldn't have the apostrophe. It's a little annoying. Before I loaded up a game, I noticed that I couldn't actually see the dash itself because the wheel rim that I was using, the CS steering wheel, which I recently reviewed, is a bit too big, though this was remedied by moving the dash further back from the wheel, nearer the back of the wheelbase, and of course sitting up straighter also helps see over the top. Obviously you don't want to set your dash too high or it will just be in the way of the screen that you're actually playing the game on. I found that the adhesive strips were a reasonable short-term solution, though I did find that the display leaned forwards over time because the unit shakes around with use and the force feedback, and the adhesive can't quite keep up with that, so I propped it up with a little bit of sticky black foam. I would definitely look to secure the dash with screws somehow if I was keeping this unit, but for now, everything installed and connected properly, it was time to try some games. Assetto Corsa works beautifully with the dash, feeding you all the data you need in real time, including lap time deltas and tyre temperatures. It's a showcase for the unit, and the entire rig does feel better for its inclusion. The screen on the dash is bright and clear, and there's no obvious ghosting or pixelation, though of course you're not normally going to be looking at the dash in minute detail because you'll be trying to pilot a car around a track at high speeds. While this initial experience was a success, F122 doesn't yet appear to work with it, unless there's some setting I've missed, though every other game just works straight away. And it's a pity because this is exactly the sort of game that would benefit from this dash, as it helps a lot to see your tyre temperatures and lap deltas in a sport as precise as F1, so instead it's back to having it shown on the MFD on the computer monitor. After that disappointment, I'm pleased to say that R-Factor 2 also works really well with the display, providing precise real-time updates and making you feel like you're more connected to the game, which is great. So when the dash is supported, it works exactly as it should, and it is undeniably very cool. However, personally, having never used a dash like this before, I'm just not convinced it's really necessary. I also found it a little bit hard to look at, because unless your computer monitor is right up close to your wheelbase, it's going to take a moment to refocus your eyes from the game to the dash and then back to the game, which I rarely have time for from moment to moment. Your rev counter as well is almost certainly going to be displayed on your steering wheel rim to some extent too, negating the need for the dash. So it's something of an extravagance, definitely a nice to have if you want your sim rig to look and feel absolutely awesome, which is admittedly one of the draws of having a sim rig, and it is important to a lot of sim drivers that they have all of the attachments to make it as complete as possible. So in conclusion, I'd say that the plus points are its form factor, because it looks great and feels nice, the quality of the display screen, which is perfectly adequate and actually looks very smart and bright, the variety of the layouts you can choose in the MOZA Pithouse app, and the flawless plug-and-play integration for supported games. When it works, it really does just work. The negatives would be the inability to make your own custom layouts for the screen, the fact that most of the displayed info is probably shown on your game screen anyway, and the way that it hasn't been designed in tandem with the R9 wheelbase in terms of the two products fitting together easily. Just some screw holes would have solved my main issue, and I'm not about to go drilling into it with a metal drill. So I give the MOZA Racing Dash a respectable 3 out of 5. It's not quite recommended, but I see no clear reason not to pick it up if you're looking to build a comprehensive sim racing rig. It does work in terms of the whole setup, and I do think that the MOZA rigs overall are very good, but this is a luxury. Well, thank you so much for watching. Remember, this is the second of 3 related videos, so please do check out my review of the MOZA CS Racing Wheel Rim that I posted recently, and also do look out for my forthcoming review of MOZA's new set of pedals, if it's not up there already by the time you watch this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.